quite sure if I'm going to be so riveting as that two earlier speakers, but it's my pleasure to be here today and see lots of friendly faces from years gone by and some new ones as well. So thank you for the opportunity to talk about the AMT history. It's really just going to be like a snapshot of our history before lunch, and then after lunch we've got a panel of four of our longest standing AMT members to talk about their experiences over anywhere between 20 to 30 years of being an AMT member and practitioners. So that will be really interesting to hear from members' perspectives, because as we talk about the history of the association, it is important to remember that the history isn't about presidents or board members or staff members. It's actually about the members. It's about you. It's your history and the history of where the association has come, what we've achieved, and of course our history informs our future. And the speakers earlier this morning have highlighted the exciting bodies of evidence, of research, and where we might move as a profession. But it's important to also take the time to reflect and celebrate on some of our achievements. So here we go, 1966, that's quite some time ago. Some of you may remember 1966. Some of you may not have been born in 1966. Some of your parents may not have been born in 1966. But what did 1966 look like, and what... how do I use this? And do I switch it on? Do I point it? Do I do that arrow?
In come the dollars and in come the cents to replace the pounds and the shillings and the pence. Be prepared, folks, when the coins begin to mix on the 14th of February 1966. Clink go the cents, folks, clink, clink, clink. Changeover day is closer than you think. Learn the value of the coins and the way that they appear, and things will be much smoother when the decimal point is here. In come the dollars and in come the cents to replace the pounds and the shillings and the pence. Be prepared, folks, when the coins begin to mix on the 14th of February 1966.
So as you can see, a lot was going on in 1966. Not only was AMT being born, but we welcomed decimal currency. Some of you may remember the cars of the day in 1966. Some of you may remember the fashions of 1966. There's the super pants. And the females, that's taken from the cover of Vogue of 1966. And then there was AMT. Let me just flick through all of these. In the beginning. So that's that's the image of our first logo. It kind of looks like it was hand-drawn on someone's kitchen table, really. But I better be careful in case someone says, actually, I did that. So the Australian Massage Association, or the AMA, had formed after World War I from the Australian Army Massage Service, and the AMA then branched off to become the Association of Physiotherapists, and then because of the need to have an association specific for massage therapists, the Association of Masseurs, as it was called in the day, which was probably quite appropriate, as to most of the small handful were men, but we did, as we moved through, changed our name to the Association of Massage Therapists. But originally we were the Association of Masseurs, formed on the 8th of March in 1966 in Coogee with a handful of members. So we originally were a New South Wales association, and we were concentrated very much so in Sydney from the beginnings. What was interesting was that the two main aims of the association from them was, one was to become recognised by the government as a genuine body of practitioners. So you can see that that aim is very contemporary. It's an aim that we've been working for all of this time, of how we become registered and recognised by the community and by government as an independent group of healthcare professionals. The other aim at that time was to eventually become part of a medical team, which is interesting because I think we probably shifted from becoming part of a medical team from working alongside a medical team, including the biomedical model of health and also the complementary model of health. So public awareness and advocacy, and for most of you, this is what I mean by this history is yours, because there's many faces I recognise in this room that have participated in public awareness activities and the advocacy on the benefits of massage for many years. And we've got a few photos and the photo slides that were running earlier at morning tea, and you'll see them again at lunchtime. There's many photos from all sorts of events across New South Wales and Australia, so keep your eyes peeled because you might well find yourself popping up in those photos. So next we have a couple of letters that you won't be able to read, but I will give you a bit of, well, you might be able to read that. I probably couldn't. So the first 10 years, the first decade, was really about licensing and registration. And we have a huge amount of evidence of letters, newspaper articles, campaigns around advocacy and trying to become being recognised through registration. So for any of you, if you've got some time on your hands and you're interested in doing a thesis on the history of massage in Australia, I can tell you we've got a body of evidence to support that. So we have countless letters on file to politicians and public servants regarding regulation and protection of the title to delineate really from massage therapy from the sex industry and prostitution. And many of us in the 80s and 90s spent a great deal of time with our local newspapers, for example, trying to get our advertisements out of the adult services section of your local paper and into a separate massage therapy section of the paper. And I know I personally had lots of conversations trying to explain that to local newspapers about what the differences were. So the letter on the left is from the town clerk and refers back to the letter sent by the Association of Masseurs in 1966. And the letter on the right is from the New South Wales Health Minister at the time, Harry Jago. And it was regarding a possible deputation from the New South Wales Association of Masseurs. And he said, "I wish to acknowledge your representations to me on behalf of the association seeking registration of the persons practising in this occupation and asking that I receive a deputation of representatives of the association to discuss this issue. Consideration is being given to the matter raised by you and the association. I'll be pleased to write to you again as soon as possible, from the New South Wales Minister of Health." In 1980, the New South Wales Association of Masseurs became a registered company limited by guarantee. The next one is around the health funds. I don't know if any of you in the room remember when the health funds first were being accepted was in 1983, and HCF was the first health fund that accepted. And if you look on your regular journal, you'll see how long the list is now from how many health funds that accept massage therapy. And a lot of that campaigning came from AMT. There was countless campaigns and letters to all of the health funds trying to get them to recognise massage therapy. In 1982, Cynthia Davis, who's one of our past presidents and a very strong advocate for massage therapy and the standards of massage therapy. In fact, I spoke to her daughter Susan yesterday, and she said it's such a shame that Cynthia's not alive today to be able to see our code of practice, because it represents all of the hard work that she started to do many years ago around trying to bring the standards of education and the standards of practice that we now have. So in 1983, HCF started paying $10 benefit for each massage. They then withdrew that in 1985, but obviously it's back on board. Then we move on to all sorts of public awareness activities. And you'll see on this photo, I think we've got Sue Davis on the left and her mum, Cynthia Davis, on her right. Is Susan's sister here today? Think of, where are you? Ah, yes. So you can see. Yeah. So AMT has a very long, proud and history of involvement in public events. Senior Citizens Week in 1986 was one of the first really major public events that the association was involved in, and we received a letter of thanks from the then Premier, Neville Wran, for thanking us for taking part in Senior Citizens Week. There's more photos here. I think we have a picture there, Elizabeth, of you about 30 years ago. Elizabeth is one of our 4 on our panel this afternoon. Is that you there, Elizabeth? I think it is. And in September 1998, Diana Glazer, one of our ex-presidents, announced that the Australian Standard of Classification of Occupations classified massage therapy as a unique profession for the first time. So we are unit group 3494 of massage therapists. So this, it's up there. This momentous achievement indicates the high level and specific nature of the skills of massage therapists. The classification officially recognised the differences between massage therapists and other healthcare professionals, such as paramedics and nurses and dental associates. What have we got there? This is from our first Massage Therapy Awareness Week, which was held in 1993 in Martin Place. Any people here who attended in Martin Place in 1993? No? All right then. Activities for the week occurred across Mildura, Echuca. What about you, Jodie? Were you participating in 1993 in Echuca? Not that old. In Canberra? Yeah, with Sandra Morgan. Yeah. And the Blue Mountains we did, and in Albany in South Australia, and also in Perth. And the event in Martin Place was the largest event in that week or that year, and the inaugural Massage Week ended with the AMT conference, and that was when we had our first Massage Therapist of the Year award, and Alan Troy won that award for that year. Sadly, he's not able to be with us today because he's not well. So we've got a few more pictures there of Martin Place. Fun fact, the membership fee in 1985 was $45, and there was a $10 uniform badge and a $12 journal fee. Thought there was no heckling anyway. Other public events, we've had lots of different events, and I'm sure all of you have participated, well, many of you maybe, have participated in a variety of events over the years. We had a very strong sports massage therapy contingent in the 1990s, and we would do all sorts of, who's done the Foster fun runs, and there must be people that have participated in some of those sports events all over the years. There's more here. You could sing out or holler if that's you up here. I think, is that Wendy Rose in the middle of the photo on the right? I think it might be. In 1995, AMT had approximately 600 members, and we currently have over 2,800 members. So that's a significant leap. Yes, well done, AMT. So the 2000 Olympics, our very own Jeff Murray, who sadly is also not able to be with us today, we had delegations of massage therapists who went to Barcelona in 92 and Atlanta in 96. And I think, Max, you're going to be on the panel after lunch, maybe talking about your experiences of attending those Olympics. It was very exciting when Jeff Murray became the Director of Massage Services for the Sydney 2000 Olympics. You may recall that Jeff was given life membership at the AGM in March this year. Over that time at the Olympics, 600 massage therapists gave over 12,500 massages during the course of the Olympics and the Paralympics. There were massage therapists at every training facility and the event working alongside physios and doctors. So it is a pity that Jeff couldn't be with us today. There he is doing what he does best. And moving forward, in terms of raising public awareness, we used to do a lot of activities out into the communities, but you'll be glad to know that we've moved with the times and shifted towards using the use of social media. So I don't know if you all have accessed AMT's public Facebook page, but it's now being used to promote the benefits of massage therapy and also have other interesting health-related facts on the page. It receives between 5,000 and 30,000 views every week. And this is what our social media public awareness campaign looked like last year. AMT's first website went live in 1997. And another significant role that AMT has played over the years is the major submissions to government. And we probably have Rebecca Barnett to thank in particular for most of those submissions that have been done in consultation with all sorts of people, in particular the boards over the years, but Beck does most of the hard yards when it comes to the writing, and we are blessed to have her on board with her writing skills to do that. So what we have here is an image of the submission to the Chief Medical Officer and the classified research database. So AMT has maintained a consistent position in our relations with government over all of our period of our history. However, the 21st century interactions with government have centred on maintaining relevance and validity within an evidence-based framework. The biggest moment in AMT's recent history was our response to the Chief Medical Officer's call for submissions regarding the safety, cost-effectiveness and efficacy of massage at the end of 2012. This culminated in a presentation with the Chief Medical Officer in May in 2013 in Canberra. This call to account led to the establishment of our first research database, which is now in its 4th iteration. It gets updated with new citations annually. The research database has garnered international recognition and acclaim, and it's something all of us as members can be extremely proud of. And then we move to education, and this is where, over the years, our early president, Cynthia Davis, had a particular interest in the standards of education and the standards of practice of massage therapy, but the standards of education. So what we have here is a picture of Cynthia and then a letter to her right, which is a copy of the letter she wrote to the Higher Education Board. When did she write this? In 1981. So for the first 20 years of AMT, massage therapy education was exclusively in the hands of the private training providers, and you'll know how that shifted over the years, in particular when it was introduced to TAFE in New South Wales and then across nationally. Sister Cynthia Davis was president of AMT from 1997 to 1987, and she agitated very strongly for formalised standards of training. And this is the copy of the letter that she wrote to the Director of Higher Education Services, where she's requesting that massage therapists be allowed to access higher ed training in anatomy and physiology at Cumberland College in Sydney, along with other healthcare providers such as nurses, radiographers and physiotherapists. In 1986-87, the groundwork was laid and curriculum developed towards the first New South Wales TAFE course in massage therapy. The first intake was 1988 and the Associate Diploma of Health Science. Do we have anybody here who was in that first year of training or close by? Diane, when did you do yours? 91, yeah. So this then led on to, we had curriculum-based education, which then moved on to competency-based training, and we've had plenty of updates. For those of you educators in the room, you'll be familiar with the upgrades of the health training packages over time. And as we shifted to competency-based training, one of the major principles of competency-based training is that learners are assessed against benchmarks of standards that are set and endorsed by industry. And this is where AMT has played a key role in that endorsement of the health training package. We've had the board directors, and we've had members like Desley Scott, who was a subject matter expert, informing the review of the health training package, along with members from other associations across Australia. It's a very difficult process to do because many people have different views on standards of education, and so there's been plenty of arguments and heated debates over the years, but AMT has proudly spent a lot of time informing the reviewing of the health training package and endorsing those standards. In 1988, members of AMT voted in favour of the use of the term massage therapist as the proper and professional title of its members. And then we move on to ethics and standards. And the first AMT Code of Ethics was produced in 1969 with an update in 1984. The most recent update to the Code of Ethics was in 2013, and I'm sure that you're all very familiar with the Code of Ethics because you will have it framed and placed on your clinic wall, no doubt. So there have been a number of modernisations over the Code of Ethics over the period of time. I've got no idea how I'm doing for time, how the timekeeper's going. How are we going? Good? 5, excellent. So as we talk about the Code of Ethics, I suppose we have to slip in there the Code of Practice, which is something that all of you of AMT need to be immensely proud of, our standards of practice and those 13 standards that we put together, because it's those 13 standards that provide the framework for practice and for education and training in massage therapy across the nation. And if those of you who are educators, you've got your curriculum right there, sitting there in your hot little hand in that Code of Practice. So it's something that we're all enormously proud of, is our Code of Ethics and our Code of Practice and our standards of practice. So I think there we go. There's some copies of our earlier codes of ethics, right up until our most recent one. I won't read it out because I think it's, you'll all be quite familiar with it, I hope. And there's our beautiful Code of Practice. The end. Ta-da! I don't think there's any questions. I certainly hope there aren't any questions because Beck's standing up there because I must admit I don't know. The whole thing. It is impossible to acknowledge everybody when you do a snapshot of the history, because clearly there's many people that have contributed to the success of AMT since 1966. So don't quote me on who did what when. But I think it is a moment to reflect back and enjoy the successes and look forward to the future. So thank you.